Yeah, chilling. We are good. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Leedz Edutainment Podcast, brought to you by the Chubby Chickpea Restaurant. Today we got a very special guest, long-term associate, Mr. Oblivious, aka Donnie Brooks, aka the Zach De La Roca of New England hip hop, aka R.A. the Rugged Man Stunt Double. How are you, bro?
Great, brother, man.
I doubt anyone would ever give you a better introduction than that.
Nah, man. Nah, that was pretty fucking accurate, I guess.
Yeah.
The RA shit is fucking hilarious, man.
That
You
video
see,
where that video that you made where you start rapping of him about like him doing all
bro, that was all a Vini, man. That was all Rose, man. Like he's fucking hilarious, man.
shout out Rose Glenn.
Yes, sir.
So
So it's good.
yeah, when I do these I always go back, and me and you have known each other for a long time, good and bad.
Yes, sir.
But we've worked through our differences, and here we are now. And you're not the first one that I've had to say that to. There's been about 4 or 5 other people I've interviewed that I've had to say we've worked through our differences, and that's very important to keep in a
We've
scene
both
together.
had a pretty drastic learning curve, man. You know what I mean? Like no,
Yeah,
and I mean, and fucking shout to you, man. What you 13 years?
yeah. 13 years clean and sober.
It's fucking incredible, brother, man. Because we've
Yeah,
known each other a long time, and
yeah.
so if you've been sober 13 years, we're going on probably 2 decades. So
Yeah. I wasn't sober when you met me.
no, 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 and
Far from it, and we'll get to
yeah,
that soon. Let's go back even further. Quincy, Mass, born and raised.
yes, sir.
What's that like?
Uh, I mean, from it's the fucking Gutterburbs, man. Right next to Boston. We 10, 15 minutes out of Boston, and then we got the South Shore on the other side. Fucking hang 'em to fucking Duxbury. You know what I mean? Like you got boat shoes and money, working class. You know what I mean? And then you got fucking heroin and fucking. I mean, that came in the '90s, but like. I'm from like my family's from a small little housing area in fucking Quincy called Germantown. But
Okay.
I bounced around a lot as a kid and shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, Quincy born and raised, man, QZ.
Yeah, because Quincy, is a lot different nowadays. And I have
Crazy.
my father-in-law is born and raised in Quincy, going back way back. Um, and my wife's from Weymouth, so I'm familiar with the history. Um, you know, your picture of Quincy is a story of drugs and destruction. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like you witnessed a lot of it seems like when I talk to you about it, it's like you witnessed the real negative side of that area.
I mean, I was, I played sports and shit in school, so I was pretty popular, and I was a shithead, so I was always hustling something, so I was bouncing all over the place, so knew a lot of people, and then, around like 17, I moved to Providence, with my cousin. I started doing the construction shit or whatever, you know what I mean? And before I left, man, like cats be eating, they were a cheap date. They'd eat like a perk and fucking drink a 6 pack, you know what I mean? And whatever. And like, I came back and it was fucking leveled, man. Like cat, you know what I mean? Like you go to Quincy T and it wasn't just like, yo, you got a bite. It was like cats sleeping on themselves and like, yeah. And then cats just started dropping like flies. So like, yeah, I guess like I was. I've always been like step back, like man, like whatever fortunate, whatever. Like I ended up not really, um, as far as the addiction aspect, but I was right there. You know what I mean? Like I got to witness it all. You know what I mean? And Quincy is a very, very, very different place now.
Yeah,
It's
big
a
time.
lot of development, and and like I'm further in the social. I'm out in Randolph or Brockton now, but like I like doing work and stuff like that. I still end up over there. And yeah, even driving through the center, it's like, holy shit. It's
Right.
like day and night.
So you see your friends drop in, and you see like just the epidemic start, right? Because we're
Yeah.
talking late, probably mid 2000, early 2000s, late 90s, whatever, mid 2000s.
Yeah, like very late 90s, the beginning of
Yeah,
2000s, and then yeah, with the like the pharmaceuticals, man. Like it wasn't like
yeah,
the dope and the fentanyl at first.
right.
You
Oxy.
know? Yeah, Oxy's perks, and then virtually whatever the fuck cats could get their hands on after that.
And it's everywhere.
Yeah. Now I thought it was, at first like, you know, growing up without like traveling and shit, like you live in a bubble, you know what I mean? So I used to think that that was like the metric, you know what I mean? Like growing up, like, and then, start like, linking with cats through hip hop and shit, and starting talking to them, and like cats like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I'm talking to cats in Toronto, but like fast forward and now it's like fucking, it's from here to Southeast Asia, man. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
fucking crazy.
So where did the hip hop come in all of this? Where did it start?
Like I used to steal my older cousins' like CDs and shit, you know what I mean? Like mom caught me with the fucking Chronic CD with the reef on it when I was kid, you know what I mean? Like fucking,
Good
but
album.
it was more West Side shit, like West
Yep.
Coast shit,
Yep.
Snoop and like Regulators and Domino and like, I mean there
Yep.
was like Rex and Effects and shit like that, and like my cousin Sabrina put me on like EPMD and shit like that, but. Um, yeah, it was more like Arrested Development and shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? My father was a country singer and like musician, and like my mom, we were listening to like Celine Dion and like Paula Abdul and fucking Luther Vandross in the house, man. You know what I mean? Like the hip hop definitely came from like the neighborhoods and like my cousins and like I said in G-Town and shit in the housing, you know. But
So what made you want to start rapping?
um shit. Parties and shit, like I don't know, we would just it started at like house parties and in like the lunchroom, like cats talking shit. You know what I mean? Like, and like cats be banging on the tables and beatboxing or whatever. And I just I started freestyling. I didn't write my first rhyme until I was fucking on, I mean, not mature, but like as far as papers concerned, an adult. You know what I mean? Like but I've been like rapping since I was like probably like 12, 13, you know what I mean? But for that first like 5 or 6 years, like it was all freestyle. Like I just wanted to battle cats and be in the ciphers and shit, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
get live, rock the spot. I thought that's what, you know what I mean? KRS-One shit, you know what I mean? I thought that's how it was supposed to be, like,
Kind of
but,
is. It should be that
well, I
way.
mean,
It's
whatever.
hard. You're
I
hitting it
don't.
hard.
I've accepted it. You know what I mean? I'm old. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I love this shit. Like I still get that feeling, man. Like I'm 37 now. You know what I mean? You put me on stage and I'll turn fucking 25 again.
Yep.
So it's like,
Yeah. So the first time I meet you or hear about you is probably I'm thinking 2006, 2007. I'm working with Slane on his first two mixtapes, and this guy just leaves this comment on this MySpace era where you could leave comments, and there's this guy dressed up in Uncle Sam paint and hat, holding a beheaded Statue of Liberty, being like,
no, it was like a weird face, but I put a bush mask on it. It was like the Iraq War shit. It was like fucking. It was like a head of like. It was like a mock head of Bush, but I was
"Oh, I thought it
anti
was the
Sam.
Statue of Liberty."
Nah, I was anti Sam. That was like the whole
Uh,
fucking. It was like a
yeah, so
fucking.
that was your default pick, and and then he leaves a comment, and I took you were basically calling me out for putting out the Slane mixtape with all the drugs, and knowing your background, I understand now why better. Well,
Yeah, but
I
I
didn't really
was
understand it. I didn't really
I was
understand the comment.
so. It was so. Like I said, it was the bubble. I thought what I was experiencing in life, and it was I didn't realize that at the time, but it was very traumatic. You know what I mean? Like fucking, we were, you know, some of my best friends were selling the shit. Some of my best friends were finding their moms blue and their brothers. You know what I mean? So it was just like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And
Right.
then like I thought that, like I said, that was a metric, and I was like. I just felt compelled somehow. Like I don't know, man. Like I hung out with a lot of older cats like early, and fortunately, a lot of them was like, they'd be like, "Well, Donnie, I ever see you do this shit, I'll break your fucking nose." You know what I'm saying? And then like I just got to the point where like, I like right at the point where I would have been at the age to, where it would have been like, yeah, fuck you, you know what I mean? Give me that, you know what I mean? They were starting to get like fucked up. You know what I mean? Like they were starting to get skinny, jaws starting to swing constantly. Like, it went from like weekends to like, Wednesday nights. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, damn, like that's crazy. And then, when I first come, I know, it was before my face and shit, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but like, I was an arrogant little cunt, you know what I mean? Like I was, and then I seen like, Georgia with this big pile of coke, you know what I mean? And in my impression, it was like, like this is cool, like fucking, you know what I mean? And I was like, I understand, even at that aspect, I understand that like, you know, drugs and violence and shit, they come with like poverty. Like they come with poor people and shit and the circumstances that whatever. And unfortunately, that's where hip hop stemmed from. You know what I mean? So, but it was just like, nah, fuck that. Like fucking cocaine's not cool. Like stuff, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
turning us all to crackheads and shit. And like, yo, I was fucking, and like shout to Same man, shout to Georgie, man, and what he's doing with Matty Gannum nowadays and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that dude is a real life like superstar. That dude need a movie and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like the impact that he's having now is probably even tenfold.
Right.
What the detriment? You know what I mean? Because it wasn't. My point is I was so arrogant at the time. Like I wasn't even sitting there trying to digest the music. You know what I mean? Like I just drew a line in the sand and was like, fuck that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and I also thought I was the shit. I thought I was the best rapper in the fucking world, bro. Like every other fucking
Uh,
idiot doing that shit. You know what I mean? But like, but nah, like he was hovering the line. He was an addict. He was dealing with trauma and all sorts of shit upbringing. And like had I not been living in my bubble, I maybe took the time and fucking saw that maybe we weren't so different. You know what I'm saying? And fucking at the end of it, and I reflect on that. I reflect on that time in my life a lot, man. You know what I mean? Considering how things have
yeah.
turned out. You know what I mean? Like I talk to like I'm very cool with probably a lot of the people we're gonna talk about. You know what I mean, including Terry and shit yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but now the learning curve's been beautiful, man. You know what I mean? The shout to everyone's still here and getting themselves healthy as far as that's
Right.
concerned.
Right. And
Hmm.
it's funny because that Slane era, your story in Slane's story is very common. And, the Southie and Quincy is very close in what they were going
They
through.
absolutely day and night. You know what I
And
mean? Most of
and
the Boston that got gentrified went to Quincy.
right. And
You
I
know.
call it the Irish Riviera.
I'm
The
saying,
South Shore now is the Irish Riviera.
I mean, my
Um,
fucking name's Donnie Brooks, bro.
yeah.
Like,
So, but it was like he was living when we were doing that album. He was living in Southie, and it was the same thing. To him, dope, and it was dope, and he was against it, but wasn't against everything else. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, give me booze and blow, but don't touch the heroin. And but
you know, I mean,
and
we all grow up with our standards, man. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
but it was very similar, and it was it is I can see where you were coming from with it from your background, but it was his truth at the time, and it
I,
was what we were all going through at the time with drugs and alcohol, and luckily we survived it,
it's
and
facts.
you're not wrong to feel that way. It's
No,
just
the
you just had a young
judgmental.
approach to it. You had a
The
young approach to
judgmental,
it.
adolescent, arrogant asshole aspect, man. Like, nah, I mean, yeah, I could never be on like, and I told you so in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like, again, we've all lost so many to it, man. And I'm very, very grateful that like each and every one of y'all are still here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
And
of
those experiences that he went through and I went through and others, we needed that to be sober
you
adults.
wouldn't be you. You wouldn't
Right.
be as impactful as you are today without them. You know what I mean? Like, no question.
Right. So moving on. we fixed that situation. We started working together. I remember the copyright show. It was the first. You guys threw a copyright show. What was the name of that friggin' bar in Harvard Square? What was it?
Oh fuck, I don't remember, dude.
It was not a venue. It was like
No, I mean we made it work. We stuffed that fucking place from
no, you did.
downstairs to upstairs and fucking yeah, it was mayhem.
It was just like a restaurant, like
Facts.
brewery type place that had like two floors.
It was shutting down like 2 weeks later or something. They were like, "Fuck it," you know what I mean? Like, go ahead. And yeah, we brought copyright to fucking Boston for the first time since the SL and shit. And it was a dope show. It was fucking like we did it, but it ended up like so many other fucking shows, fights in the streets and fucking.
It felt like a house party that just happened to be in something else.
I mean, Lee. I mean, you saw how we were living, man. Like that's how we really lived. You know what I mean? Like we just brought the party that we were already having to the venue. You know what I mean? And that wasn't always conducive to business, man. You know what I mean? Like you got 30 to 50 Quincy kids in a house, and it's just like. You never know what's going to happen. It could be great. You could have the time of your fucking life. The place could burn down. You know what I mean?
This is the beginning of my stages of dealing with people born and raised in Quincy. Like I said, I'm from New England. I'm from like southern New Hampshire and like Georgetown, Massachusetts. I'm not used to dealing with Quincy. I've been dealing with Boston hip hop heads, but this is my first experience with Quincy.
And it's a different breed. I'm telling you, it's not arrogant. Like we're wired different, man. We're fucked up. We're wired wrong.
Resilient is the word I really want to use because you guys,
okay.
you guys get knocked down 9 times and get up 12. I mean,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I mean?
So we started working. And at the time, the group was what? Project Mayhem? Is that what you called it? From Fight Club?
Oh, God. Yeah, that was like a collective of fucking friends.
Let's talk about the collective because it was you, Hectic.
Fuck, nah. Hectic wasn't even. So at first it was Vengeful Minds.
Vengeful Minds. Sorry.
That was.
Vengeful Minds.
Fuck. That was like Pilsy, Hectic, Damien, Mooney, Aztec. I think Danny Judge was involved. Like I said, it was like a merger, dude. Like fucking.
Relentless?
No. Relentless was Relentless never. Relentless is always just relentless, bro. Relentless is fam. Like
he was there.
Yeah, yeah. That's my brother, bro.
You know what I mean? He was close with Aztec. That's probably why.
Yeah. That's how. So them cats in the North Shore. So after at some fucking point, like it's actually a little further in the timeline, but like we linked like the headshots in like the Vengeful Minds, like all of us kind of cohesed, you know what I mean? And the South Shore came together, and then, with Rec Shop and everything, like fucking, it just became this merger. But
right,
like, it's it started very homegrown. It was just like a bunch of.
It was like a Wu-Tang of Quincy. It was like with a little North Shore, like
it was a very.
Jizzle was from Brooklyn, and the rest were from Staten Island.
Right.
The Aztec was from the North Shore.
No, like it's that whole thing. Because it actually went from that. It went from like Vengeful Minds to the Project Mayhem, and then like that shit, whatever. We put out some little mixtape or something, you know what I mean? And then what's called, and then I think it was the Gutterhead shit, you know what I mean? And that's when cats started like falling back and like whatever, not really taking it serious and shit, you know what I mean? And then I think that was like 2008 when we were doing the Gutterhead shit. We did like the Hemp Fest and like we were doing a bunch of shit. And then fucking egos and real life shit. Cats fucking going to jail and getting caught with fucking drugs, weapons, and fucking whatever else. You know what I mean? Like fucking. Like I said, some of my like my main people were on one side and then, on the other, and
Yep. Yeah, that's how it is.
so things like fell apart or whatever. And then 2010, I put out whatever the actual issue shit um, that we did at Harper's Ferry.
Right. I'm gonna pause real quick
Okay.
because there's something that happens right before. I'm in the process of making a mixtape. I started working with Right Hook, and we put out and Right Hook is young and
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of just wild, doing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
drugs, going crazy. We put out a song over the classic beat, okay, the infamous, the DJ Premier classic, Kanye, Nas, whatever, blah blah
It's
blah.
funny how
Mixtape,
transparent.
mixtape era, common thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But Hook's talking shit on it. He's being a fucking 20-year-old fucking knucklehead.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call. I get a call that Donnie Brooks has dissed us and has made a diss track against us subliminally at the time. And we were
Yeah, that
so fucking
elevated
fired
rather
up.
quick.
Yeah, that went too far. So you call me, I say something, you call me, we go back and forth. All of a sudden, it's fucking on, right? So like,
War,
you
bro.
run the diss
Absolute.
track. Right Hook and me get so fucking angry. Okay, so fucking angry instant. We're so angry at this point. Like I'm just a ball of fucking anger walking around at this point in my life. I'm like strung out on drugs. I'm fucking strung out in the music business. He's like just getting into his thing, and we're just like, record a diss track right now. And we record a diss track. I have never been so fired up in my life to make a song and as upset as you got me at that time.
I mean, bro, like I said, like I came in this shit on some like KRS, like if I think you're whack, fuck you. Like, we don't gotta be divas about prove your shit. Like whatever, it's clever. And yeah, I don't know, man. I heard that classic shit and I was like upset. You know what I mean?
He calls me up. He goes, "How dare you?" This
It
guy's
was
word
like
for word.
some. Well, I mean, like, yo, and yo, let's get this shit clear. You know what I mean? Word to Terry, man. Right Hook is an extremely talented fucking artist. You
Right.
know what I mean? And
Everything's
like
all cool now.
yeah, we have no issue. But like at that time, it was more of like a drug induced, like incoherent. You know what I mean? Like he was just like saying, like talking shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like yeah, again, my fucking arrogant and this is also like I said, I'm sure we'll get into it, like pride on my face and shit. So like fucking I was live wire too. It was like fucking, whatever is gonna happen, let's go, and I'm really glad that didn't escalate the way that it seemed like it was going, because there
Yeah.
ended up a lot of people involved in that.
Yeah. That got out of control really fast, and I had let my anger get the best of me, and my addiction
Oh,
get the best of me, and it was ugly. And I'm glad we fixed that because those type of scenarios with the wrong people
I
is
mean
bad. But I will also say this is my second experience with the Quincy Army because during that time, man, oh my lord, it was short lived, thank God. The beef, the diss tracks. By the way, we made one. Quincy Army made about 4 diss tracks at us in retaliation.
I made 3, motherfucker. I made 3. Someone else had some shit to say, but like I made 3.
Judge. You had 3. Judge had 1, and there might have been a few others. But again, MySpace era. Me and Hook are just getting hit up left and fucking right. At that point, I realized that my anger was just completely out of control. Like it had never seen. I had seen sides of myself, but that side I hadn't seen in a while, and that's why I knew the drugs were starting to get to me because I was crossing the line.
I mean, whatever, fucking probably crossed the line. I mean, like, look at where my anger ended up getting me. I mean, not like the altercation was, provoked or anything like that, but it's almost like, and fuck a karmic, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, I mean, like, I was live wild. I was ready to get it live with whatever. I'd fist fight, fucker, whoever, you know what I mean? And we rolled
Right.
deep. We were lit, you know what I mean? But like, fuck,
Yeah.
I wake God, fucking take a brick to the face and life is different. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I
Like,
want to talk
fuck.
about the incident. I want to talk about that incident too because that was a life-changing incident. Talk to me about the fight and the face getting demolished. Tell me exactly what happened and what the result was.
Like, well, fucking, we had a show at, whatever, Club 58 there in Quincy that we used to throw shows at,
Yep.
and the, South Shore Music Hall.
Yep.
We had a show. It was great. Fucking shitload of people. Fucking made bunch of dough at the door. You know what I mean? Got to break off the artists, and we were living at that same spot behind Blockbuster.
Yep.
Like right in walking distance. So everyone pretty much just fucking headed to the crib. You know what I mean? From the venue, and me and Aztec went down and met one of my younger dudes to grab some Buddha and shit like that, and we were like it was still Point, but like we were more towards like the Four River Rotary and shit. And
Yep.
we were walking back, and this kid was like pissing in the street right on Washington Street, and fucking uh, we just fucking walked around him. And then he started talking shit, and like he was like fucking legless, bro. You know what I mean? I would have fucking slapped this kid blind, and I was sober because I was like doing the show. You know what I mean? Fucking, he starts talking shit. We're like, chill, man. Two big goons get out the car. You know what I mean? We're like, yo, get your man home. Blah blah blah. Dude starts like clenching his fist. I look back at him and fucking, I'm like, chill, man. You know what I mean? I look, boom, got hit with a fucking piece of like pavement, fucking brick, and I guess Tech like pulled out a shank. They all fucking took off. He turned around. I was in a white tee, and it was just like he like froze, and he carried me fucking down the street. I think Josh McLaughlin, Wise One, and Stephanie, and Danny's sister Pamela, who was dating Josh at the time, came and like picked me up. I was like in and out at that point, and then I guess they brought me to Quincy. I don't remember any of that, and they med flighted me to Mass General. I woke up like the next morning, tech sleeping, like sitting up in the chair next to me. You know what I mean? It was
Damn.
yeah, it was different. I woke up fucking with a Dilaudid drip in my arm, you know what I mean? So I rolled over like, yo, what's up, bro? Giving him knuckles, and he's just like half in tears, like, bro, like you're alive, you know what I mean? I'm like, huh? Where? Like, I had no idea where the fuck I was, bro. It wasn't until they let me like actually get up. I was like, I'm gonna piss myself. I'm gonna piss myself. Like, I have to go to the bathroom. Where they like walked me to the bathroom, and I'm like, my stubborn ass. I'm like, I'm fucking good. Fucking let me go. I gotta go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? I go in, I'm like holding the thing. I take a piss or whatever, and I turn around and I'm like holding the thing, and it's one of those big ass goofy things. You know what I mean? And I'm just going.
Yep.
I just look up, bro, and I look like fucking Sloth from the Goonies, bro. You know what I mean? Like my whole shit's all purple and fucking. And that was before, my beautiful, big beard gang. You know?
So what happened? Your face was bone, your cheekbone, face bone was
Yeah,
shattered,
it
your
was.
jaw.
It was pretty much like this. Now, it wasn't my jaw. That was the only thing that I didn't get it wide, but my orbital and my nose and my upper, what I mean? I got metal right here, right here, right there. So, and I put 3 metal plates in my face and whole shitload of fucking learning, still to this day, learning how to deal with like the pain from it without, you know what I mean, what we just talked about the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they'll give me a fucking script of fucking Oxy 40s tomorrow by the fucking 90 bottle, you know what I mean? Like, here, and it's like, nah, bro. But,
So it hurts. It hurts you. You have
bro,
chronic pain from it.
we live in New England. I wake up with your
Was it
ass
like the
tap.
cold in the weather, the cold and the rain?
Oh no, it's in my teeth. Like people always look at me, they're like, "Fucking yo, look your teeth." Like this one right here, that stupid snaggle tooth, bro, is from when I was a kid. It don't hurt, you know what I mean? I can get
Yeah.
that fixed anytime I want to remind me where I'm from. These ones all here, all broken at the gum line and shit, man. You know what I mean? Like it's intensive surgery to fix and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, and like there's the double edge of that. It's a financial situation, and because insurance, is not so great. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's also, you know, takes me out of commission. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned to adapt I learned to rap again, bro. You know what I mean? Like fucking, I learned to do what I love. You know what I mean? Like I never had a day of speech therapy. You know what I mean? They told me I'd never speak right again. I got frontal lobe damage and shit. Yeah, I'm fucking batshit Looney Tunes, but like fucking, I'm still here. You know what I mean? Grateful, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
still going.
Survivor.
Yeah, you know.
So after that, obviously you had to take a break for a little bit, right? Like you chilled out. I feel like after that you kind of laid low for a while. Am I wrong?
I didn't have a
From
choice.
rapping.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, I mean, I was still like writing and like trying to record, but I had to learn again, man. Like I used to fucking be in love with Bone Thugs and shit. You know what I mean? Like that shit was all the way out the fucking window. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's far better now. My enunciation, like my speech impediments, like have, like I work on them, man. You know what I mean? Like, consistently. So, they're improved and shit like that. And, with the rapping, it's better. But yeah, it was hard to take the shit serious. And then I ended up with like stomach issues because instead of eating their perks and their oxys and shit, I was eating fucking Motrin like they were Skittles because I was like, oh, I'm fucking doing the right thing. Wow, I fucking
Yeah.
perforated my intestines. I ended up with like fucking something similar to ulcerative colitis. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
fucking, that was a whole different battle. And it was like, how to be consistent at shows, man. How to be consistent at work when I can't fucking leave the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? And like, so yeah, a whole bunch of pile shit. My career has not been that little stroll through the park or whatnot. You know what I mean? But we're still here again.
Right.
Grateful.
So you get back to making music. Then you can finally go solo, right? Like then it becomes Oblivious, I'm solo, right? Because the whole time I know you, it's always a crew, and now it's like I'm gonna work on solo stuff. And I'm thinking about the mixtape. The funniest mixtape name ever, I think, is the Eat Shit mixtape.
The eat shit tape. Like instead
The
of a
Eat
mixtape, it
Shit,
was the eat shit tape.
Eat Shit tape. It's so
Yeah.
on brand. The Eat
Yeah.
Shit. That's very
No.
Massachusetts. Eat shit.
You know what I
I'll
mean?
go eat
Nah, there was
shit.
two of them. We still have like honestly, if it wasn't for like a lot of the shit, we still have like a lot of that shit archived. And like the first eat shit tape was just a weekend. Like we did a lock-in at the studio and fucking we built the studio at Danny's house in fucking Weymouth and fucking we had a lock-in. If like you came through, like you had to do something. Like I got Mac Annam doing a spoken word just because he fucking ended up like he was speaking or something and he just like came
Yeah.
through and ended up doing a spoken word and I gave him a whole track on it. I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a shitload. Yeah. Like they put a
Yeah.
bunch of randoms together and shit. That was,
Yeah.
connecting.
Such an artistic, but that's the thing is you guys had like a really good artistic collective, and it wasn't just rappers; it was producers, graffiti writers, all types. I mean, you really guys had like the whole crew. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Yeah,
just a
well,
bunch of rappers
we
like let's rap. It was like you guys actually cared about the art form and passionate about it and want to
yeah,
do
oh
it
hell yeah.
right. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we're trying to get
Nah,
paid. It was like, yo,
no, addicted, obsessed, like whatever you want to call it. Like,
right,
I felt, I felt an absolute awe with it, and like, as far as me, judge himself like, like Danny's had his own, like medical issues and shit like that, and like we utilize the shit, like I lean on it. It's like a fucking crutch, bro. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like why like depression hits or the rainy days, you know what I mean? Like some people would sit and feel sorry for themselves or would have to go to like an external for like drugs or like drinking or something like that. Like motherfucker, I just rap.
right,
You know what I mean? Like I smoke weed, but fuck man, in comparison, like I'm still functioning. I'm a small business owner. Like I fucking, you know, I can't complain. You know what I'm saying? Like again, grateful. I'm still fucking here, bro. I got shit to
yeah.
complain about, but like, press play on the
Well, you
record or whatnot.
complain; it's just not about yourself.
Yeah, facts. I'm good. I'm good money. There's far worse
Yeah.
situations.
So I also want to talk about the woke project because this was like another this was like a level up in my opinion. Like you and Lateb get
Oh,
together
brother.
and make this project woke, and it got a good buzz right off the rip.
Indeed.
Talk
Indeed.
to me about what it was making this album and what influenced that and why. What's the
Um,
inspiration behind it?
so, obviously, State of the Union. You know what I mean? A lot of shit. So that was like, there's actually a few songs cut off that joint that was made in the midst of my transition from my stomach issues
Yep.
to getting healthy again and being able to be consistent and present.
Fuck.
Um, we John Glass is the motherfucking man. First of all, he produced the whole thing, mixed, mastered, and recorded it. One of my favorite human beings in the world. Fuck the music, you know what I mean? He's
Yep.
just a great dude. But we just were collectively friends. Me and Ted were already cool, you know what I mean? And we had done a joint, you know what I mean, over a John Glass beat, and John loved it. And then it was just like, yo, like we just started building one night. I think I had just gotten arrested at the Mike Brown protests at South Bay. I got fucking beat up by a bunch of stadies and shit like that, and fucking
Jesus.
yeah, it was fucking stupid. I was grown. I was in work boots, fresh from where I was going to stand in solidarity. Man, you know what I mean? These assholes pulled me over that line of fucking bikes and beat me up. Anyway, they fucking I had like a black eye and shit. So I'm at the studio and they're like, "Yo, what's up?" So we're talking about that. It becomes the build of it, dictates the climate and temperature of the room. You know what I mean? We talk about it, we build, and then he was like, "Yo, let's make some shit." You know what I mean? Like, let's make some shit, and we just kind of started getting up routinely and like working on it. Like over once I was able to be present, we just started really going, and then I did some backpacking in Vietnam, and what's called like I went out to the year before I had gone to Thailand by myself, but me and P went because it was like, can I do this? Like the first time was an opportunity, you know what I mean? Like to go out there, I was supposed to do some work. It ended up falling through. I was still out there. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna run around Thailand. But then it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I came back and I was like, nah, fuck that, man. Like that was fucking incredible. Like we can do this. Like we can go. And like P ended up coming with me. We ended up spending fucking like 10 days in Singapore and like 3 weeks in Vietnam. And we were on our way back and we stayed in hostels, farmstays, and all sorts of fucking dope shit to like really see the culture and shit. And then when we got back to Singapore, I finally got us like an Airbnb. We were on like, the 30th floor terrace, overlooking the skyline and shit. And I was like, bro, like we can do this, like with the music. You know what I mean? Like we just got to get the music out there, and like you just got to plant the seed. Like as soon as cats see you live, and like you know what I mean, that you're willing to work and shit like that, like it'll happen. And so I got with Tab. We were working on the project. We wrapped the project, and it was like, Tab, let's do this. You know what I mean? Like I'll do the logistics as far as like flying and shit like that. I was doing like not credit card scams, but I was like
Using the points.
doing yeah. I was doing a lot of that shit, and so I was able to get like flights and like got us to fucking Madrid round trip for like $200 each. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, man, now it's on. We got a fucking suitcase full of merch. Let's go, cause Teb running the shop. You know what I mean? So like
Yep.
fucking. We just went over there with a shitload of merch and fucking we did our first round. We sent like a billion emails and got like six back and got booked for like six shows and we were like, fuck it, we're going. And then Corey, like shout out to fucking the big bro Rex. He was out there for his shit and he was like, yo, come join like the bullies, you know what I mean? Because Bakari was out there with him and shit. And I met so many dope people. It was such an incredible opportunity. A couple of the shows got canceled. We ended up in the studio fucking for like 5 days straight, like in Switzerland. It was life changing. You know what I mean? And it was all because of that. And we went home. You put us on, you and Georgie put us on for the St. Patty's Day show. We rocked that, stayed a little bit dormant. Because we hadn't put the album out. We had only put like a teaser out, and that's what we like had circulating in Europe. We had videos for all those songs, blah blah blah. came back, stayed dormant for a little while. Got I don't know if the summer run. Anyway, we got invited out like to almost everywhere that we had been prior. When we
Right.
went to book again, we got invited out to that many more, and they were like more than willing to fucking reach out to their people and shit. So we ended up doing a summer run of like fucking another 9 shows, and then brought like fucking Sammy and Matthias out and shit. It was fucking dope time. Wife ended up coming, got to bring her to Italy and Paris and shit. Rap shit, bro. I took a brick to the face. Like this shit is hilarious to me. It's all bonus. You know what I mean? But like, uh, the once fucking we actually dropped the album, we got back out there and you know, we went and finished up an EP and shout out to my brother Rawmatic, DJ Rawmatic out in Budapest. We finished EP out there that should be coming out this summer. And then we went to Switzerland and we were getting ready for a run, man, but like fucking we woke up to 24 hours to get home fucking
Yeah.
because of COVID and shit, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I
it
remember
was
that.
fucking it was fucked, man. But like the experience as far as making the album was incredible just because it was a moment in time, like locked in, like a feeling and a sense of accomplishment. And because it was my transition back to like into the shit, to be completely honest. You know what I mean? It was like I started being able to be present and the fact that cats were of their caliber, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Last was one of the most incredible artists I've ever come across in my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just so happens to be my brother. And John Glass sits in a very similar caliber in his lane, you know, the production and engineering and stuff. Um, so for those cats to still be so patient and still willing to go with an idea after such an extended period of time, and it was a blessing, and it was only right to go as hard as we could, you know what I mean? And if it wasn't for motherfucking COVID, I'd probably still be hanging out, and, you know, waking up in
Yeah.
Switzerland, you know.
That show we did, the album release party at the Middle East, and was a great show, and it
Always appreciate you,
solidified
man.
to me how good of a performer you were because you really have an intensity when you perform, and you have a way of connecting with the people in the room. And that show right there was one of my last local like headline
Oh,
shows in the Middle East upstairs
oh no shit.
before COVID would wipe out all my shows. But that was one of the last local ones, and I mean it was pretty much sold out, and it was just such a good night, just a
I had
great
a
night, man.
I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate you because obviously it wouldn't have even occurred. But like, yeah, man, just to have the family in there, and then, you know, that's always been my favorite shit. And I'm not gonna act like I don't enjoy being in the studio and like creating and stuff like
Right,
that, and writing and whatnot. But it's just not even in comparison, bro. It's like,
right,
you know, being on stage and letting that out. I
yeah,
got a lot of. It's still there, bro. You know what I mean? I just like
yeah.
I'm,
I
I'm
feel you.
very grateful for the outlet. You know what I mean? Like fucking, and that comes coming from you. That means a lot, man. You know what I mean? You've
No,
seen
it was a
thousands.
great show. I was like, wow. I'm like this. I'm like everything was stepped up a notch, in my opinion. You know, it had been a
Appreciate
while since
that.
we did a show. I mean,
Yeah,
we did the Slain one, obviously, but this was something different, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was just a family affair, and everybody was so supportive, and it was just and it was just an all New England thing, you know. So it was just
Yo,
like, it was just a great night. It was a great night.
no, incredible, man. I had a blast, and actually, I mean, fuck, man, my parents were there and shit. You know what I mean? Like fucking, my
A
little
lot of
sister
parents were
was
there.
there. Yeah, yo, it's like, well, you know,
As I
I
say,
mean,
it was a
shit.
total family affair. Total
I
family affair.
mean, as far as me and Tab, like you personally, you know, have bear witness to, you know, the fact that like, you know, me and Tab are still doing this shit, you know what I mean, is like so many people were thrown in the towel, man, for whatever reasons, you know what I mean? But like,
Yep.
you know, his circumstances, you know, didn't depict the outcome either, you know what I mean? Like fucking and that dude but like before his circumstances, before that, like, you know, like he was on his way to do incredible things. You know what I mean? But in the same vein, it probably saved his life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
Yep, absolutely.
you know,
So I want to talk about this new album, the new one, Sedimentary Rose,
yes, sir.
produced entirely by Cloak and Dagger.
Crack says like
Of
of
Cloak and Dagger.
yup.
Cool.
So,
Let's talk about Cloak and Dagger real quick. Crack, whatever. Um, they've been doing their thing for a while, and it kind of slept on. I mean, heads know, but not enough heads know. Let's just say
motherfuckers don't know. Motherfuckers don't know.
that.
You know what I mean? Nah, Cloak and
Talk
Dagger,
about Cloak and
bro.
Dagger. Talk about Cloak and Dagger.
Matthias is my longtime friend and engineer and half of Cloak and Dagger. It's a duo,
Yep.
producer duo.
Yep.
The other half is my brother Craig Sislak, also a longtime friend and supporter.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's kind of what I was talking about, like that, starving artist, Vengeful Minds, like Headshots merger. It kind of came with it, you know what I mean? Cat, like Danny and like Judge and Slant ended up fucking putting out an album. Me and Teb ended up fucking putting out an album, Torn. You know what I mean? Like them two just linked from us just being around each other constantly. And something fucking beautiful happened. Like whatever the fuck
Right.
happened, man. Like fucking them do, they just be sitting there with the machine and it's on like a stand on wheels and they're just sitting there and they'll be chopping a sample or whatever, and Matthias will be like, nah, fuck that, and just like swing it over, and Crack will step up and just start like doing like banging on it, and then be like, yo, what you think of that? And the fucking Matthias drops and shit, and then just like watching them work, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is happening right now? You know what I mean? Like, did you guys come out the womb together? Like, and yeah, no, they're like Matthias got the studio, and they just we routinely get up. You know what I mean? It's the same shit. It's just a little more laid back and a little more like focus driven. You know, a little more mature about it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
constantly in the studio, constantly making shit. Like P Rose about to drop a Cloak and Dagger fucking produced album in like fucking a couple weeks. You know what I mean? So like we're consistently working, you know what I mean? Me and
Yep.
Judge D, about 10 songs and, our project produced by Cloak and Dagger. So, but this one, yeah, is, produced entirely by Crack.
Nice. And what was the inspiration with this one, especially with the name?
I mean, shout to Tupac, you know what I mean? The rose that grew from concrete, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like, that reflects a lot of us. The resilience, like you said, you know what I mean? Like you can't keep me down, motherfucker. It doesn't matter where that seed get dropped, like it gonna grow. I'm gonna this light gonna shine, like whatever the case may be. But the album itself, Crack just approached me. You know what I mean? They've been killing it. You know what I mean? Anytime they hit me for like a feature, it's go. So
Yep.
when he approached me for this, I was like, I ain't done like a solo joint since like Actual Issues, you know what I mean? Besides like 5 or 6 songs or something, you know what I mean? Like, not saying like, I mean, we cut it down to this because fucking people's attention spans on it. I'd be surprised if people even run through the whole fucking thing. I don't, you know what I mean? Uh, but it's just a reality. The but we wanted to he just approached me, man, and he just sent me like beats and he'd be like, if you're fucking with it, you're fucking with it. And if not, like send it back and I'll just send more. And then like we just get up in the studio like once a week and fucking crank it out. And fucking it's my first like solo joint in over 10 years, so you know what I mean? Be gentle, motherfuckers, half my face made of metal.
Well, that's dope, dude. I'm glad that you're back to it. We talked all about hip hop, but I didn't touch upon this, and when we touch on this, is the Rage Against the Machine influence,
Yeah.
because obviously that's heavy in the music, and obviously I can tell that you're influenced heavy about it. Talk about Talk about what that group means to you and the connection it has with hip hop, because it's very closely connected to hip hop.
Oh, I mean, Zach De La Rocha is top five for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's never, as far as, I love, hip hop with a message and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so I was personally attracted to the boom bap. You know what I mean? That type of shit. And if you listen to like the Rage shit, like there's a lot of rock influence, like a lot of punk influence and shit, but like I like that shit too. Like I listen to a lot of hardcore. I listen to a very eclectic range of music. I mean, nowadays, 9 times out of 10, I'm listening to fucking Amy Winehouse or something. You know what I mean? Like fucking, I
Right.
listen to a wide range. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I'm about to go see Kareem Bailey Ray with the wife and fucking love it. Fuck y'all motherfuckers. Um, but like Rage, no, it was very different. It was rap over, guitars. I'm a guitarist myself. You can see the fucking thing hanging in the background. Like,
Wow.
um, I loved the energy. You know what I mean? And it's why I love performing so much. You know what I mean? But like, he was able. Like, it's hard to translate that sometimes. Like what cats can do on stage to in the booth. You know what I mean? Sometimes like that doesn't translate correctly. Dude, you listen to that, like you listen to Evil Empire or the self-titled album, and it's just like holy shit. And like the angst that was coming out from, and the intellect that was coming out in the lyrics just like blew me away. It was like every single line, every single bar, and every single song, he didn't deviate. Like there wasn't a club song, there wasn't a street song, there wasn't a song for the hood or the like whatever. It was just like bang, no, I'm just gonna beat you in the fucking side of the head with this raw shit about like what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? And like the energy, it got to the point where the songs would like boiling over and wake up, and it was just like holy shit, dude. Like it was like they murdered X, they tried to blame it on Islam. Like yo, he was talking that shit in like 91, man. Like he was saying like real shit. And then like when we did the Truth Addict shit, I was in a cover band,
Yeah, I remember.
but what's it called fucking I got to like really study dudes lyrics. You know what I mean? I had to learn them. I had to learn. I'm a Mick from Boston, man. I'm not like a half-ass Zapatista rebel from California. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I felt like I could portray the energy. You know what I'm saying? I felt like that was most important to portray. As long as the band was on point, portraying the musical aspect of it, I felt like it was proper homage. I wasn't just appropriating some bullshit, you know what I mean? Because I really felt it. Like, and
Yep.
when I really started breaking down these lyrics, man, like, it was very, very reminiscent to what was like, it was probably subconscious because I knew these things, you know what I mean? But like, I hadn't sat there since I was like, what, fucking 12, 15 years old reading the fucking pamphlets on the inside, you know what I mean? Like, so at this point, I think it was just subconscious. But when I started, like, reviewing the lyrics for the performances and shit, I was like, holy shit. Like this dude like was talking some serious, serious shit in a very artistic, poetic way with insane energy. And yeah, I fell in love with Rage Against the Machine, man. I think they're one of the greatest like sonically and most impactful bands of my generation and maybe of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it was electric and addicting. It was like, as soon as you heard it, you like got hooked. Like I remember when the first album came out, the self-titled one, and I was just like, what the hell? Freedom. I saw the video for Freedom on
You know what I
MTV,
mean?
and I was like, hardcore was it was pop, it was just starting to bubble, but
It was
this
not
wasn't
that
just that.
cohesive merge.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was like hip hop, bro.
yeah,
Weapons, not food, not clothes, not shoes, not
yeah.
me, just feed the world. Like, dude was spitting bars over guitar, like hard ass, like weird. And like Tom Morello's a fucking freak, bro. He dragging Allen wrenches up the strings and shit. And it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, because Tom Morello was very influenced by like Public Enemy, and so he had a big hip hop base. And did you ever
Yo,
listen to Zach De La Rocha's first band, Inside Out? Did you ever listen to any of that?
the punk, like it
Yeah,
was more like screamo punk shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like not super familiar, but like yeah, like I've heard it. It's
Yeah, my
very
hardcore boy. Where I'm from, like in high school, you were either hip hop. It was the big two was hip hop and hardcore,
hardcore.
and
Yeah,
and they respected each other.
that's why I ended up both. I think you know what I mean.
But
Like,
my hardcore friends, the hardcore friends, they were like, yeah, nah, with Rage, Inside Out. They were like, Inside Out, I like better. Rage was
no
Rage was a
shit.
little light. It was a little light,
Right,
but
right, right.
But man, what a friggin' band, man! I saw them with Wu-Tang in '97. Probably one of the
I
most influential concerts I've ever
I
seen.
saw him at the last one at Randall's Island,
I
the
remember you
Rock the
telling me that.
Bells. Bro, I tore down a fence. I fucking flooded like 40,000 people into Spanish Harlem. I thought it was the motherfucking revolution, bro. I was ready to flip cars. Fucking bunch of suburban white people looking at me like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I mean? Like, yo, Public Enemy hat on. Like, go fucking throw a Molotov or something, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, Jesus.
nah. Yeah, oh, bro, like, yeah, I was like fucking not even. Oh man, it was like fresh after my face, bro. I was like fucking. There was a weird time in my life when there wasn't a very self-destructive outlook on things, bro. You know what I mean? And it was very reflective of what was around me and internal. You know what I mean? So it was a point where like I didn't see the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what was the turmoil that was inside me was like what happened when I opened my eyes. So I was like, fuck it, let it burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then,
I always thought you were gonna be like a full blown anarchist at one point.
oh, I mean, yo, bro, if it wasn't for certain situations in my life, I'd be a goddamn terrorist. You know what I mean? Like fucking. I mean, I'm not gonna like hurt people or nothing, but you know what I mean? It's like it's definitely fucked the
I
system,
remember you.
bro.
I remember you showing up to the party once in a fucking V for Vendetta mask.
Facts, bro. Like, yo, I watched that movie. Yo,
Like I think it
Danny
was a
almost.
show. I don't even think it was a Halloween party. I think it was
Yo,
just you hanging out.
Judge D. We watched that on bootleg. You got like a bootleg DVD when it first came out, and bro, that morning, like, I used to like flip omelets. You know what I mean? I used to think I was fucking king shit because I could like flip omelets with both my hands. So that morning, I was fucking talking shit, and like Danny was on the phone, and I'm like fucking, I flipped the omelets and shit. And he's like, nice, because I caught that one. We go to watch, and he's sitting there and making, he's like, eggs in a basket. And he like flips the fucking thing. And yo, like, fucking Danny just started dying. Like, he fell off the couch. He was like, get the fuck out of my house, bro. He's like, you Guy Fawkes. And like, then it's been, like, since then, it's just been like a fucking inside joke. And now it's like a full blown fad, but
I
I don't
also
know,
want
that's
to
fine.
thank you for back in the day when I was at your house. You guys introduced me to the movie Grandma's Boy,
I tell people that story all the time. That movie's
which is
fucking classic.
one of my favorite comedies of all time. And it's
So good,
hilarious.
dude. Have you ever seen Slammin' Salmon?
No.
Bro, all right, so it's Broken Lizard, the dudes that do Super Troopers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Oh okay.
Michael Clark Duncan in it, dude. Like, yo, it is literally one of the
What?
funniest movies. It is up there, bro. One of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Grandma's Boy is up there.
No, no, I'm saying like that's why,
Oh
like,
okay.
if you know what I mean. Yeah, high school. What's that mean? Did I break it? Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking, it's so
Slam
good,
and
man.
Salmon. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Facts, facts.
Word.
Great
Well,
movie.
Johnny, this has been great, man. It's been good catching up with you, man. I'm glad things are going on the right track, and we're gonna keep building.
Dude, I appreciate you always. You already know. Fucking, thank you for having me. And Sedimentary Rose out right now, motherfuckers everywhere. Woo!
There you go. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Leeds Edutainment Podcast with Mr. Rapper Oblivious. We'll talk soon, brother.
Peace.